Hey everyone, another Hamster Sales Starcraft 2 broadcast for you today. It's been a really long time since I did this, so I'm pretty excited to do it. Just kind of got off track with some real life stuff, but that's pretty boring, so I won't go any further. Today we have tealz, the red Protoss player, on the west side of the map. And right here on the east side we have saivfvffiffvmhgl. It's going to be a PVZ today on Antiga Shipyard. One of the fun new maps Blizzard introduced. I'm not going to say who sent this replay in, just because that might spoil who won it, but I will give a shout out to that player once the cast is over. I think that keeps it a little more suspenseful throughout. Yeah, Antiga Shipyard, one of the new maps. I kind of like the new maps just because they're new, and they seem pretty well balanced for Zerg, you know, my race. But, you know, I don't like complaining about maps anyway. I just try to learn to play on them better. But they all seem kind of boring. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else thinks the same thing. That they're kind of just carbon, you know, just cookie cutter maps. They all have a relatively easy to defend natural expo. Some more than others, and then they have, you know, they're all just super symmetrical. Nothing weird like Scrap Station. No real weird maps anymore. Metalopolis is even kind of weird. And they took that one out, so I don't know. Let me know if I'm just crazy, but it seems like they're just kind of bases around the perimeter, just kind of run-of-the-mill ladder maps nowadays. But regardless, we do have a 15 hatch, I think it must have been, from the Zerg player, saivfvffiffvmhgl. I forget what level replays they are. These are, the player did tell me, I think they're diamond. So Diamond player here electing to go for 15 hatch and a 16 pool, which is a pretty ballsy economic build. These guys just hanging out here, no bad blood between these workers. There we go, now they decided to fight to the death. Except for the drone here actually not attacking the probe at all. That is unfortunate. Is the drone going to die? No, his buddies will surely come to his rescue. Yep, tealz forced out of there with his probe. What is the Protoss player doing? Gateway cybernetics core, seen that once or twice in my days of playing Starcraft 2. A few things you can do from it, of course. You can tech to something crazy like DTs or void arrays, or just go a regular old 4-gate. So I like this opening just because you can do a lot of things off of it. Gateway cybernetics core, you could be going 3-gate expand, you could be going 4-gate, could be doing lots and lots of things. Not so many builds for Zerg players to go for. You pretty much either go, you know, Zerglings or Roaches early into Infestors or Mutalisks. Not quite so many units that are super viable at this point, but they are good, the ones that we do have access to, of course. Do some good things with those. Don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, Protoss player throwing down his second gateway. Chrono boosting warp gate technology, no doubt. Yep, that super cheap upgrade, which normally takes quite a long time if you don't chrono boost it, is coming out for the Protoss player here. Is he going 3-gate expand or 4-gate? Just now enough for a 4th gateway. Is he going to do it? Is he going to be aggressive? No, throwing down another pylon. So likely going to see 3-gate expand, if I had to guess. Going to want to free up some supply of some extra pylons and then throw down that Nexus. I assume is what tealz is going for. Oh, but I've missed this bit of early Zergling pressure. Kind of a really, really late time to get it, so it's not really going to do anything at all, especially since the first Stalker is out. Much more like to see these distributed evenly through the map. I guess it can't hurt to check to see if he's vulnerable to some kind of run by. But that's a super late poke with 6 Zerglings. Could have potentially lost all those if he had a sentry ready to force field him, trap him on the ramp. But regardless, Zerg player, don't really know how to say that name properly yet still. It's saivfvffiffvmhgl. I had to lean closer to my screen to read it because the text is kind of small for me right now. But saivfvffiffvmhgl, I don't know if that's a clan or if he is just bad at naming himself, but that is hard to pronounce. I'm going to go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that's a clan. Has a queen at his natural base, natural expansion, going to be able to produce tons of larvae, 2 bases, getting fully saturated. Probably going to be taking gas soon. He's kind of low on gas at the moment, so expect him to take 2nd, 3rd, maybe 4th geyser soon. Does have that 2nd geyser up. And we're soon going to figure out what this young Zerg man is going to be going for. He is electing to get a Roach Warren. That is a good unit against Protoss. The game I just played on ladder, I built myself a roach warren, but really didn't use it. Sent a bunch of Archons at my base. I only had Zerglings. Don't know what I was thinking. I must be watching Destiny's stream too much if I think I can get away with all lings every game without scouting. It's pretty bad on my part. But tealz here has a nice little mixed army and is electing to expand off of 3 gates. Yeah, I call that correctly. I sure did. Expanding off 3 gates at the 740 mark. Not too uncommon timing, I don't think, for Protoss to expand. Kind of throws the Zerg player off. They see Protoss move out with a bunch of units. Unless you're aggressive with your scouting lings, you're not going to see this going down. Or if you sack a Overlord somehow. You're not really going to know they're expanding unless you really, really want to know with multiple Zerglings. You're not really going to find out with a single ling scout. So tealz is actually electing to push out right after the expo goes down. Maybe he's just using the Nexus for extra chrono, much like a Zerg might use 2 base for extra larva in a push. I don't know. But assume he's going to get a probe out with this army so he can reinforce with only the 3 gateways still, which could be effective. I have lost to pushes like this before. I feel kind of silly. Maybe he's just pushing out to kill Overlord, scare the Zerg opponent into making more units, which is always very smart. Don't let him run wild with economy, get a billion drones, and run you over in the late game. So yeah, looks like that might have been what tealz was doing, just looking for stray Overlords. He caught one there, and likely, yeah, he forced a lot of roaches. I don't think the Zerg player really wanted to build an army at this point, but he scouted what looked like a lot of pressure and is trying to defend appropriately. Certainly can't blame the Zerg player. He has not scouted, though. That's all too common faux pas in the under master leagues, not scouting his opponent. I don't think he really has any idea what's going on. None whatsoever. He did see the expo going down, so I was saying before that he might not know that had gone down, but he does know that his opponent was expanding. I think he had that Overlord kind of floating around here. Must have been killed when he threw down the expo. But he did get that information, so good for him. Zerg is still on 2 base at the 10-minute mark. This is a common time to take that 3rd base. Pretty easy to defend this 3rd base. It's a wide area to defend, but kind of just throw down all your units, spread your creep all the way down, and you can defend that 3rd pretty easily. So I'd like to see him take that. We do have layer tech coming, yes. Layer tech coming still for saivfvffiffvfmhgl, the Zerg player. And he is doing something smart. He's running out into the field with all his roaches that he produced. Now probably realizing that was a fake push, if he didn't already. Don't know if he wants to apply pressure with these roaches, maybe follow up with Zerglings. He is getting Zergling speed, so it's maybe a delayed roach push followed up by speedlings. Quite a few more roaches than you normally see with like a roachling all-in type build. So we'll see how this works. I don't usually play this way as Zerg, so I'm kind of curious to see how it works myself. tealz is electing to push out. He is confident he can kill this number of roaches. Almost catches some off guard there with the force fields, almost splits them up. Slow lings rallied to their death, only losing a couple though, no big deal. The 2 slow armies trying to come together. The faster stalkers for tealz catching up occasionally and taking pot shots at the roaches, but saivfvffiffvfmhgl is going to be able to get back to his base easy enough. As I try to make fun of his name, but kind of just sound like a retard. Sorry about that, guys. But he does make it back with his roaches. And would really like to see him spread this creep out so he can defend this 3rd base that he has now taken. That would be real good for him. Has the 3 spines already, so you might as well spread the creep. There he goes. I think getting a creep tumor. Yes, yes. There it is. And more roaches on the way. What's the worker count like? 57 drones to only 39 probes for tealz, so I imagine he is wanting to push out pretty soon. He does have his units still in the middle of the map, taking a 3rd base behind what could be a push coming up. Does have a proxy pylon coming down at the middle watchtower, so we could see the Protoss push come any second here. Only roaches for saivfvffiffvfmhgl, and that's not going to work too well against this pretty balanced force of Stalker, Zealot, Sentry. If microed properly, could probably beat this number of roaches without heavy ling support or some kind of tech unit maybe, like Infestors or Mutalisks. I don't know what he plans to get here. Looks like he's going for heavy roach upgrades. That's not a bad idea, and he's getting drop, so he could potentially do a lot of damage with Zerg drop. That would be very cool to see. tealz now just content though to chill in the middle of the map with a pylon, sending in some reinforcements, taking his 3rd base, getting up to even bases on the Zerg. Both players about even though, I'd say. as tealz does not yet have the worker count, I don't think. He's probed up pretty hard. He's up to 47, but still a little behind the Zerg. Relatively even place for given their races. But here come the Zerglings meeting a huge zealot wall that's just holding them beautifully. These roaches will eat up these zealots though if tealz isn't careful, but very nice force fields, pushing a lot of the roaches back. They are all now firing though. Pretty nice concave from these roaches, even with the force fields. Only a few are being kicked out of the battle, but that is a large number of stalkers. Yeah, I like that micro there. I like the stutter step micro. I think you can do good things against these roaches with it. But both players electing kind of back out. They both had equal armies. tealz gets the pylon taken out by the Zerg player, and saivfvf's macros kicking in. He is producing tons and tons of roaches, so he is a really big fan of the R key at this moment, producing tons and tons of roaches. Getting some drones now too, increasing his drone lead, no doubt. Yeah, getting into the 60 drone territory, which some players like to play that kind of low eco style, sit on 3 bases with only over 60 drones. I'm kind of that kind of guy. I really don't like getting up to 80, 100 workers. Some Zergs are kind of crazy that way, I think. It really kind of destroys your army cap, so when you do max, it's not as powerful, and I don't know, I just don't really like that style. I really like to kill my opponent's army the first or second time. I really don't like trading armies 5 times and then finally winning the game. Some Zergs are much better at that than myself, but I find I like to win a little earlier with mutas or festers, depending on the matchup. But tealz in a pretty good spot here. He has his 3rd base secured, even bases with the Zerg. No real cool tech coming out. An extra macro hatch coming out the front base here. So instead of spreading creep, he's just going to throw down a hatchery the old-fashioned way so he can get some defense of this choke. No doubt going to move these spine crawlers down. Yeah, again, just tons and tons of roaches is what he's sticking with. I think he was really hoping to catch the Protoss with an inferior army when he pushed out those roaches, but really they're quite even and both backed out with even number of forces. So I hope saivfvf doesn't get stuck on roaches, because Protoss has some pretty hard counters to that unit. Yeah, if you see some immortals come from tealz, this guy could be in big trouble with this number of roaches. Saivfvf could really go down hard if we see some immortals, but I don't think tealz even has a robo facility. Sticking with a very gateway heavy style of play at this point. Yeah, I don't think he's hidden a robo facility anywhere. Would really like to see that. I mean, robo facility or Templar tech. He could easily go to Templar tech with his Twilight Council. Has the gateways to support it too. But saivfvf is hugging this destructible debris, maybe assuming that the Protoss has expanded to a 4th base here or something. Or maybe he sees the zealot and needs to kill it with all 50 roaches, however many roaches he has here. 60 roaches, so the bulk of his 60 roach force is heading out to kill a single zealot. Hey, at least he's going to make sure he gets the job done. Maybe realizing that he was telling his opponent that he's sending his whole army and tried to pick it off with just a few units, but looks like tealz realized that the whole Zerg army is out in the field, maybe trying to catch it out of position. God, that is a ton of roaches, though. He might be able to take this gateway-only force. I don't know. saivfvf not liking the look of it, though. Protoss always scary to encounter in the field. But no, he is engaging. Would like to see him move these roaches closer so the ones in the back are not stuck. It's very good to micro roaches toward the Protoss ball, or in general, always micro roaches toward your opponent, because they can get stuck in this ball and the back ones won't be firing. But tealz sees just how many roaches are there on the field and likes to run the hell away, which is pretty smart. Doing a little bit of kiting here. I don't know if he wants to engage this number of roaches. This number of soccer is probably not going to work out too well. Yeah, effectively utilizing blink, and he has DTs out on the field. Roaches cannot kill units they can't see, so these guys are going to work at the back of the roach ball. So hard to know sometimes that DTs are whacking your units when you don't have detection and you're in the middle of a thick battle. You're just wondering, why the hell are my units dying so fast? I don't know what the hell's going on. That's exactly what's happening here. saivfvf, no doubt, would have run his roaches back. How do you realize there were DTs on the field? Really, the only thing you can do is, if you're familiar with the sound of the slice their little sickles make, you can run the units back as soon as you start hearing that. Or, you know, if you see the little waves, that's easier sometimes than others to see, the little wavy cloak stuff. But, man, I feel bad for my Zerg bro here. Lost all those roaches just because he didn't realize there were 6 Dark Templar chewing up his shit. That was a bad time for any Zerg. And it looks like tealz has sentry harass the Zerg Expo. I don't know how many drones he lost there. We can pull up the worker killed tab though. He killed 8 drones with that little harassment. Don't know why he sends 3 sentries. Maybe he just left them out here or misrallied them here or something. Don't know. It wouldn't really be rallying work baits anyway. I don't know how these 3 sentries ended up here. I don't know how they're still alive. All these Zerglings that were over there. Save them. I think just assuming that these sentries were dead. They are left to take years and years to kill this hatchery. These roaches will spawn before they kill that hatchery. But the main force also moving out. These lings do not want to engage that force. Archons will tear them apart especially. But yeah, the roach ling and ultralisk force. Bad on me for not noticing those ultras in the field. These ultras are charging across. They could do tons and tons of damage. Nothing super hard counters the ultras. Archons do pretty well against them, but they're way out of position up here, so I don't know how tealz is going to survive this, at least not take tons and tons of damage. The Ling's already getting huge worker kills, and the ultralists supporting are going to be able to tear up this front if he's not careful. If he's going to take out the third, you really don't want to get caught in here, though. Ultras, they're not going to get force field caught, of course, because we're ultras going to run over force fields, but excuse me, I'm getting a little too excited here. These ultras, you don't want to get them killed by the archons and stalkers. Hopefully you can just run over this force, but the blink stalker is quite effective at ultras if you micro really well. A little bit of video lag, but oh man, the ultra is just going down. That video lag was my computer weeping for the death of these ultras. Hate to see that, but these big expensive ultras are getting cut down. Same thing happening, DTs, no detection equals lots of kills for the DTs. A couple Zerglings running out trying to harass any base that doesn't really exist. Really killed the third base for tealz, but tealz going to push out with a stalker only force. Is pretty ballsy, but not much being rallied for the Zerg player. Both doing pretty well to macro, only floating 1,500 minerals this late into the game is pretty good. They must be Diamond League. You know, they're playing pretty well. tealz pushing in here, though electing not to engage at the spine crawlers. One still poking away, getting a good amount of kills, but he's doing some pretty sick stalker micro, I have to say. A lot of blinks there, very effective. Keeping ones with full health in the front. All the damage guys you can see are in the back. That's how you want to use stalkers, and still no detection. This infestor, a single infestor, could get a fungal and kill the DT, and the DT might take a lot of splash damage if he's not careful too, but no, too far away from the melee, and he's just getting tons and tons of free hits. Not too many kills. He hasn't been swinging away at Zerglings. He's mostly been swinging at ultras since that first engagement. Now Save Him has to know there's a DT, since this one's hitting him in the open field. Had to have gotten that attack message and realized it, but any overseers in production? No, still just Ling Ultra and one Infestor. Ling Ultra Infestor, I'm told, from what I've seen from message boards, is a popular build against Protoss. It's not something I've tried. I really prefer Broodlords and quite a few Infestors, but this DT looking for hidden expos, and he is going to find 2. This probe already found them, actually. But he is going to go to town on that. So one of the things DTs are great for is killing expos. Killing all yo units because you can't see them. But this is a pretty nice force from Save Him coming to kill the single DT, even though he can't see it. Yeah, he's running back now, realizes he's got no detection. 8 overseers on the way. That's an interesting gas investment. God, buddy, I hope you spew some pukage on something. But yeah, that's the most overseers I have ever seen. That is wacky. I think I saw somebody BM with this number of overseers, but I think that was just a huge overreaction to a single DT killing all his bases. The stalker's here now helping that DT. But that is wacky shit. 8 overseers. Really doesn't want the dragoons, the stalkers picking off those overseers. Man, I just said dragoons again. I think I did that a couple casts ago. That's pretty horrible. But 8 overseers, he is not going to be lacking detection this time, guys. He is going to see those DTs, and the ultralists and links can get to work on him right away. tealz army composition is decent against this, I guess. I mean, he's got the zealots to deal with the lings. Zealot's not too great against ultras. He's got the stalkers, which are pretty good against ultras, especially with the level of blink micro he's displayed in this game, but not the best Protoss mix yet. I'd really like to see Archons here. They do pretty well both against Ling and ultras, if I remember correctly. I think Archons do some kind of bonus damage to massive units, something weird like that, but yeah, Save Him displaying the technique where he defends his defense harassment with his entire army. A little bit more video lag there, sorry about that. But tealz moving out with, oh, these stalkers are going to get annihilated if they're not careful. Some nice blink micro there. He's going to need his second blink cooldown to get her over these rocks. Will he make it? Picks off an overseer or an overlord. That was pretty sick. Savim maybe realizing that the blink stalkers are just going to get away, not going to over pursue those. Probably could have caught him around the back edge if he realized what he was doing there, but instead he is just going to push the front, it looks like, with these lings and ultras and 8 overseers, which are going to be completely useless past the first one, which Protoss usually never bothers to snipe, but these DTs are going to get super detected. It's too bad that all the lings died to zealots without the ultras. You really want to run the ultras in first. Their job is to take attacks. He seems to know that. He did upgrade the armor 3 times and the special ultraless armor upgrade, but you really want to send them in first. Usually you do have them on the same control group, so I understand what happened there, but lost all the lings just because he wasn't careful. You really want to send the ultras in first so they start doing their damage and soak a lot of that damage, but instead lost all his lings to mostly zealots and then a little bit of stalker fire. But yeah, that's not so good for the Zerg player. Still kept the 4 ultras alive, which is great. It's cool if you can remember to transfuse them too with some extra energy he has on this queen, for example. Could bring all those ultras back to full life, which will give you maximum value for them. tealz taken out the 4th base of Savim. I've lost track how many times these bases over here have been sniped and taken out, so good job by tealz to killing those throughout the game, keeping the Zerg on 3 base. His 3rd base is going to be mined out pretty quickly, and tealz is getting his 4th up, where the old 12th hatchery was for Savim. But yeah, going to run back after he successfully snipes that base with his whole army, the whole army base snipe. Protoss like to do that. Is it overreacting? I don't know. Is that too many units to snipe a base? Probably, but you know, you don't want to get a few units caught out of position. I understand that too. Savim going to go for some harass now. He's got some baneling bombs loaded. Not very many probes at the 3rd for tealz, which he might call the 3rd, one of his only 2 mining bases. So these banelings are gonna certainly kill all these probes, but you can often take out quite a few more probes with banelings. Let's see if he notices the worker count's low and elects not to drop. No, he looks like he's going for it. Protoss, oh man, the stalkers are blinking in there, gonna kill all of the overlords before they drop a single baneling. He did get some info here though. He did see the double robo and the immortals, which are great against ultralisks, so good choice there. Gonna need to keep them protected from zerglings, of course, but great choice. Blink Stalker Immortal and healthy number of zealots as well, so I like the unit mix from tealz. Would like to see some different tech from our Zerg player here. Getting kind of stuck on Ultra and Zergling. Not the best unit mix. Ultras are pretty awesome, but I'd really like to see them against like a Colossus ball that's heavily utilizing force field, something like that. Really much prefer Ultras against Colossi. They can be decent against Blink Stalkers if you catch them in a corner though, but and off cooldown, but tealz had the cooldown, so he escapes and retreats to the rest of his army, the mobile Stalkers rejoining the not so mobile Immortals and Zealots. Yeah, Savim gonna be able to